Today I'm talking to John Jonczak, a wedding venue owner at The Barn at Heritage Farm in North Carolina. You don't want to miss it. Stay tuned. Welcome to Grow My Wedding Business, where we speak with industry experts, teach you how to grow your wedding business, and give you the tools you need to take it to the top. I hope you're ready to grow because this is your season. Welcome to Grow My Wedding Business. This is the podcast where we talk to wedding professionals and help you figure out how to better your business. If you ever wondered how a lot of couples choose their vendors and how venues recommend their vendors, that is why we are here today, sitting with a professional, full-time, that's all he does, venue owner John Jonczak. John, thank you so much for being with us.
Of course, thank you.
So, tell us a little bit about how you got into the crazy industry.
Sure. My wife, Jessica, and I have owned the barn and been doing it full-time since the last weekend in September of 2016. We actually both quit our jobs May 31st of 2016, finished it, and again, have been doing it full-time since the last weekend in September of 2016. The barn at Heritage Farm actually sits on all my wife's family's land, and we found the original deed from her great-great-grandfather in 1913, where he paid $8 an acre.
I'd be buying up some land if I could buy.
Oh, 100%. You can't get a Happy Meal for $8, let alone an acre of land. But so it's exciting that the land has changed, but again, it's still farmland. The barn itself was built to store tractors and farm equipment, and there's still some oil stains on the floor where we had farm equipment in here. And over time, it's evolved into what it is now.
So I really did not know that. So I for some reason thought that this was started as a wedding venue, but it was a barn before.
Correct. So it was built from the ground up. There's about 6 other barns on the property that are just 100 plus years old that store tractors, equipment, skid steers, wood chippers. So we were going to move them all into one just to help with weather.
That's awesome.
My wife was a teacher and she didn't get paid in the summertime. So as it evolved, our plan was to do an event in the summertime to help supplement some income. And just through people asking questions and talking, we did a lot of praying, a lot of talking, a couple tears at some times, and decided to just jump full in. So again, May 31st of 2016, we both quit our jobs the same day and have been doing it full time since.
So talking from somebody who literally depended on someone else to give you your paycheck to now being a full-time entrepreneur for how long?
Since May 31st of 2016.
How hard was the transition? So if somebody's listening to this and they're like, man, I love doing these little side things, but I really want to do it full-time. I think the income could support me. How hard is that going and trusting that that's going to support you fully?
Very scary. Like I said, there were tears. There were some choice words, just, that Jessica and I just weren't sure. But we trusted ourselves. Like I said, we did a lot of praying about it. And we decided if we're going to go in full time, we've got to go in full time. And I think that's, again, the scary part for entrepreneurs starting out is, well, let me do it part time. It's successful. But again, to be full time and be successful, you've got to give it 100% of your attention. When a bride or an individual emails you, they don't want to respond 2, 3, 4 days later. They'd like to respond, within a few hours or within 24 hours.
I built 2 resources just for you.
Jessica and I have been told
First,
from these
my book,
couples
Wedding
that
Pro
email us that
Playbook, is the
other
complete breakdown
and/or
of all the
vendors
marketing,
don't always
positioning,
provide quick
pricing, and
communication,
growth strategies
and that kind of turns them
that
off.
serious wedding
And that's
pros
one thing that
use
Jessica and I really
to
try to
build
pride ourselves
real,
on is answering
sustainable
email,
businesses.
Facebook message,
You can grab
a
the
phone
Wedding
call
Pro
or text
Playbook
message
at
as soon as we get it in time.
growmyweddingbusiness.com.
So
I talk about that a lot, and I don't think people really understand. I've created a brand new free Grow My Wedding Business community and 24
on
hours
the
school
platform.
And then 24 hours
and
to 48 hours.
this is where wedding
that's
pros
like dead
connect,
time after that.
get clarity,
people
and
have
start
no clue.
implementing
like,
all of this stuff
surely
step
they've contacted
by
me.
step.
They're going to wait on me
You
to
can join
contact
all
them back,
of us.
But that's not
at
usually the case.
school,
Usually they're
that's
checking on several people and they're hunting for a place, and they don't have you just as one person. So how important is it to contact them back quickly, and what is the ultimate goal?
If you're serious about growing
when that person
smarter
reaches out to
and not
you,
just busy,
you're on their
I can't
mind
wait to
right
see you
then and
inside.
there.
And as you said earlier, 24 or 48 hours later, they're not thinking about you. So when you respond, it's, oh, who did I email again? I can't remember. Let me go back. Okay. And then you expect them to email you back right away, but you took 2 days, so they may take 2 days. And a lot of people think they're great at communication, but again, it's that quick response, even if it's, hey, thanks for reaching out. I'm currently at an event right now. Let me get back to you this evening or tomorrow. Let them know you've got it versus just sitting there in your inbox or in a text message or a voicemail. And that, I think, really helps separate Jessica and I from others in this industry, is how quickly we respond to their questions.
Yeah. So before I get into the other stuff and try to get them some really practical information about how to get venues to reach out, what were some of the early challenges of starting this and getting it going?
You don't really know what things are going to cost. You build the structure, you have tables, you have chairs. For example, the tables we have on the main floor, we built from leftover wood of the barn. So we tried to use different things we had available to us, but you don't really have an idea of how much your power bill is going to cost. You know what your internet's going to be every month, but your power, your natural gas, or trash bags, all those things add up. How much water is going to be used, and all those things kind of vary depending on how busy you are. Maintenance outside, from landscaping, you've got to make sure, again, first impression, when folks pull up, what do they see? Do they see weeds or overgrown grass or dead grass? What does it look like? What is that first impression? So you've always got to make sure your inside and outside is eye-catching and appealing to everyone. And those were things that, again, you just don't know until you experience it and you get that first utility bill, or you build a beautiful structure and you think, I've put my heart and time, energy, and tears into this. Everyone's going to respect it. And unfortunately, sometimes folks don't respect it, whether they break something on purpose or by accident, or they may have too much to drink and a bodily fluid comes out. So those are things that we didn't think about getting into this, that we have since learned. And I tell folks, every rule we have has someone's name attached to it.
Yeah.
And we're constantly kind of changing our contract. For example, we have, again, these wooden farmhouse tables we built. In the contract, it says you cannot staple the tables. I did not think that would have to be in there, but again,
I wouldn't either.
Folks decided to use industrial staples into our table, and we were cleaning, and my wife pushed a table, and it cut her hand. And again, those are
That's
things
crazy.
You just don't think about.
You would not think somebody would just take a stapler to a wooden table, a finished wooden table.
No. Or folks that say, we allow sparkler send-off outside, but because it's a wood building, you cannot light your sparkler inside. I appreciate that you're a firefighter or a volunteer firefighter, but you can't light your sparklers inside.
So I'm assuming somebody has actually said, but I'm a firefighter before.
Correct. I think the individual, may have had something to drink. But again, it was great. There was no issues. But again, just letting folks know, please make sure you're, 30, 40 feet away from the building. I'll show you where to line up. I'll show you where to put your sparklers when they're over in the trash can. So we've got G-rated stories, and then we have triple X-rated stories, something for everybody.
Yeah, this is stuff you don't think about when you're starting out. You when you're envisioning this, usually our vision of our business is all clean and neatly cut, and it's just going to go exactly how we want it to go.
Correct. And that's not the case. And on social media, folks that own any of their business, post the exciting parts, the building a new house, or, you're baking a cake, or beautiful pictures from an event. You don't post the pictures of you on your hands and knees scraping up gum off the floor, or having to go at 2 a.m. to fix a broken windshield or a window, or, the supplies you ordered didn't come in. So now you've got to drive 2 hours away to find the supplies you need to make sure you can deliver on what you promised the couple.
Oh my gosh, this is crazy. That could be a whole episode, a storyboard of stories from wedding venues. And
I told my wife, when we don't do this anymore, she's going to write an adult-only book. Just because, again, it's stuff you can't make up, and things that we never thought about we would experience until you're in it full time and you experience it.
Oh my goodness. So when we talk about venues, that is a big part of officiants and DJs. Our lives, a lot of our income depends on how many venues recommend us. So I want to get into that a little bit. When you have a venue like yours, what are the recommendations that that you expect? What do you expect from your vendors before you'll recommend them?
Sure. So we feel comfortable recommending folks that have been here before.
Okay.
There's a lot of great wedding vendors out there, but we as a venue don't feel comfortable recommending whether it's a DJ or a caterer or baker if I've never seen you in action. Baking a cake is fantastic. You may be a great baker, but again, when you come here, are you delivering the cake on time? Are you setting it up? Are you bringing everything you need? Because those are questions that folks, brides ask us, who's cutting the cake? Well, I'm not very sure. I didn't bring the cake.
Yeah.
Or does the DJ show up to the rehearsal? Did you have that conversation with the DJ? So we, again, recommend folks that have been here before that we have worked with, that we have had zero issues with, and folks that have hired them have had zero issues with. And that way we feel comfortable recommending. We don't say this is the only vendor you have to hire. We try to give you 4 or 5 because other vendors are booked. Budgets are going to be different, their availability. So we try to give you 4 or 5, and it's a good starting point to help brides or couples that are looking for vendors. I think sometimes venues forget that you do this all the time and these brides do not, or these couples that are running your venue don't do this all the time. And so we try to make it as easy as possible and be as helpful as possible to these couples with providing them a list of folks that we recommend and trust.
Yeah. So that's a really good point. You want to trust people, so you want to see them in action. What is a good first step if someone has never been here? If someone just started a DJ business and they're really incredible, they did it on the side for a long time, but they're going full time. What is the best first step to get in here, to reach out to you, to actually be able to get in front of you?
Sure. So we have a lot of folks, probably 5 or 6 different vendors reach out to us monthly or provide us with business cards, and that's great. But again, until they are here in person, they may have been at other venues working, but until they're here actually working, we just don't feel comfortable saying, call this individual. If brides are saying, hey, I've called everyone on your list or folks you've suggested, do you have any other suggestions? We may say, yes, here's a DJ. We've never worked with him before. He's dropped off some business cards. I don't know anything about him. But here's another contact for you. Providing couples with I don't know or good luck isn't really going to make them feel comfortable. And again, you want to make these couples feel comfortable and trust in you, and again, over communicate that you've not worked with this vendor before. They've given you some business cards. Check them out online, read their reviews, ask them for references. And that way you're providing an answer, but you're putting it back on them to follow up, and they still get to pick who they would like to work with.
Okay, that's good. So if you have, if you have a vendor, an officiant DJ, and they had a couple book them and then come to your venue, that's a great first in for you to see them.
Fantastic. Okay. One of the things that we've started seeing more of from vendors is drinking on the job.
Wow.
When couples decide to go with a wedding with alcohol, I don't believe you should be drinking. You're getting paid to do a service.
I've built 2 resources just for you. First, my book, Wedding Pro Playbook, is the complete breakdown of all the marketing, positioning, pricing, and growth strategies that serious wedding pros use to build real, sustainable businesses. You can grab the Wedding Pro Playbook at growmyweddingbusiness.com/playbook. Second, I've created a brand new free Grow My Wedding Business community on the School platform. And this is where wedding pros connect, get clarity, and start implementing all of this stuff step by step. You can join all of us at School, that's SKOOL.com/GMWB. That's SKOOL.com/GMWB. If you're serious about growing smarter and not just busier, I can't wait to see you inside.
We've started seeing more of from vendors is drinking on the job.
Wow.
When couples decide to go with a wedding with alcohol, I don't believe you should be drinking. You're getting paid to do a service. And so that's a very quick way to make sure you're not referred anymore. No problem if you want to drink, but drinking on a job, I don't want to go get my teeth cleaned and my dental hygienist drinking wine.
Right?
Get my engine worked on and the mechanic's taking shots while changing, my engine out. And it's the same thing here. You want to provide a great atmosphere for folks, whatever that vendor is, and leaving at the end of the night and you got 12 beer cans sitting in the corner just doesn't look good for anybody.
That's crazy.
And so we've added that in the contract, that we expect that when folks are hired, that when you hire your vendors, they are 100% professional and able to do the job with a clear mind.
That's good. So that's in your contract. So technically it's up to the bride and groom to say something if the person they hired is drinking.
Correct. And we'll go up to them and just let them know, hey, we really, it's in our contract that vendors aren't drinking, or even if there's no alcohol and you're drinking, that just turns into a much bigger liability issue. You can't go to McDonald's and bring in a 12-pack.
No, that's almost like an instant get out. I mean, that's crazy.
And you got to do it carefully, because you're at someone's wedding and you don't want to ruin their wedding.
Yeah.
So you've got to talk to them privately, but also make sure they understand what rules they're breaking or the laws. And you want to make sure everyone's safe, whether, again, alcohol is involved or not. When you have folks coming to your venue, you want to make sure it is safe, whether that's cleaning up spills when they happen, making sure your doors are functional, emergency signs, exit signs are lit up, those kind of things. Again, you want to make sure folks are having a great time, but they're safe.
Now, so I know that you've done something that a lot of venues haven't done, and I think it's a really smart idea. Give us a brief overview of law enforcement presence at your venue, whether you should or shouldn't, and is there a certain time if you should or you shouldn't?
Sure. So that's, again, one of those rules we have, and somebody's name's attached to it, where if you have an event with alcohol, you're required by our contract to hire 2 Surrey County Sheriff officers. And their job is to make sure the people you invited are the people that are here. People's attitudes and demeanor changes when folks are drinking. And since we've hired these officers, we've not had any issues or anything. We've had in the past before we had officers. And again, they're not here to bother folks, but they've helped from when folks may have fallen. They've helped folks with that. They've helped when folks have got locked out in their car, they can't find their keys. So they provide more than just the security, but you go to a concert, there's security.
Yeah, absolutely.
Certain restaurants or outings, movies, even movie theaters have security. Yeah. So it's just to, again, help make sure that your guest and those folks that are here are safe and well maintained.
So you say, I just have to ask this, you say that has a name attached to it. What was the first time that you were like, we got to get security, we got to get law enforcement here?
Sure. So we had a wedding. The only folks that work here are my wife, Jessica, and myself, and I was hauling off trash at a wedding, and the bride's dad showed up drunk with a bunch of his buddies, and he was not invited to the wedding. And so when I got that phone call, I told my wife not to handle that. Wow. I'll be back. And so I turned around and there was no issue from that, which was wonderful. But again, I don't want to put my wife or anyone here in a situation like that. That takes away from, again, why these folks, these couples are coming together to celebrate such a beautiful thing. Yeah. And so they, as the officers, help with that. And again, when we have proms or other school events, we have officers here. So again, they do a great job.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's really something important. And even if somebody doesn't always have law enforcement or security, I think it's definitely something to think about going forward.
And some folks, some other venues have asked us about it, and they said they're afraid they're going to lose bookings.
Really?
That again, comes into mind. But again, for our business, if you don't want those officers here because for whatever reason, then I probably don't want to work with you to host your event.
Right.
If having officers at your wedding or at whatever event it is causes a problem, then there's plenty of other venues around those folks can go, and we'll book the date with someone else.
And that's only if they've got alcohol, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So to me, that's a one-on-one. That's a giveaway. Like if you've got alcohol, if you're willing to possibly have some people that are disorderly or something like that, it just seems logical to have security.
Correct. Just make sure, again, everyone's safe, having a great time.
Right.
We allow folks to leave their vehicles overnight if they're carpooling. There's plenty of, opportunities and lodging close by for folks to again, make sure they're safe.
That's almost a red flag for me if somebody's like, no, I don't want them here, but I do want alcohol. Like, okay, well, you can go somewhere else.
Yep, and say, hey, we understand. This is our policy. There's plenty of other venues around in the area. Best of luck in your venue search, and leave it on good terms, And again, everyone's different, but we provide them the information, and if they choose to move forward with it, great. And if not, no problem either.
For sure, yeah. And I think there's a little bit of like a stigma attached to the communication. If somebody like says something that they don't want your venue or something, people get offended really easily nowadays. And as a business owner, like, no offense, whatever you want to do it's your decision. Sure. And a lot of people, even vendors, are taking offense to people. Why didn't they choose me? Because there's plenty of people out there, and they're just not everybody's going to be a fit for you.
Correct. Definitely. Since COVID, there's been a huge increase in wedding venues and vendors.
Lots
and so
of them,
there's definitely a lot of options out there, and every couple is going to be unique and different on what they view as their perfect wedding, from food to DJ to venue to officiant to flowers. So it's great that they have options, and we try our best to give folks options and what we can do to help work with them and make their day perfect.
I think that goes a lot further too, to getting good reviews and people that come back and suggestions and recommendations. When you help somebody, even if it's helping them find another person that does the same thing you do.
Correct. We've been
no, go ahead.
We've been very blessed. We've had a lot of families returning from maybe a sibling got married here, and 2 or 3 years later, their other siblings getting married here. We've had folks have their wedding shower here, then have their wedding, then have a baby shower, then have their child's first birthday. So it's great to see folks returning as they're kind of part of our family for a little bit, and then you see their family growing. It's fantastic.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So I want to ask you, how often do couples actually ask for recommendations?
Just about every time.
Wow.
Because again, you've got folks that have recently got engaged, and they may go to weddings, but when you're going to a wedding or an event, you're not thinking about catering or DJs or any of those things, or who did the flowers. You're thinking about, hey, I'm out here dancing, having a good time. My buddy got married. This is great. And so again, they come into this. It's overwhelming. Mm-hmm. It's overwhelming. You've just got engaged. Where do you start?
Yeah.
And so normally the venue is kind of one of the first thing folks book, unless they have a friend in the industry who they've asked if they can work with them on their date. But it's overwhelming, and that's why, again, we're upfront and honest with people that there's a lot of information. Take it all in. We'll answer questions. We'll provide you suggestions. And again, ultimately, it's what works best for you and what your idea of your perfect wedding is.
So what makes a vendor especially stand out? Like, I mean, I'm sure in your mind you've got this list of recommendations, but then there are some that you're like, well, if this couple wants the best of the best, I'm going to give them. What makes you choose best of the best?
So I think it starts with what we talked about earlier, is communication.
Okay.
Are folks responding in a timely fashion, not 3, 4, 5 days later? I think that's one. Appearance when they come to serve the food, or a DJ. We've had some folks, DJs, that show up in jean shorts, short sleeve button downs, and Crocs.
Wow.
To DJ a formal wedding.
At the wedding.
Oh my
gosh.
And again, that's who they hired, and that's fine. But everyone's different on that. So I think how you communicate with folks, your appearance. Are you on time are you communicating, hey, your wedding starts at 5, I'll be here at 3:30, and you're here at 3:30. If you tell folks what time to be present, that you make sure you're here with that, and you tell them you're going to be at a rehearsal, you're here. You don't change it last minute. And we've had some couples tell us, oh yeah, I've got a DJ for the rehearsal. Oh no, I'm sorry, he just called me and said he booked a wedding instead of my rehearsal, but he'll be here for my wedding day. And that's disheartening to hear, because you made a promise to this couple you'd be here, and you chose money over your word. And so sometimes that's hard, and we'll try to tell brides, hey, no problem, you have your playlist, bring a Bluetooth, you can still hear the music and the words of what works for you. So we, again, try to provide suggestions when couples come to us about vendors that they've hired that they may be feeling comfortable or unsure of.
Yeah. Do you have any other, you mentioned a few things, and you talked about somebody drinking while they're here. Are there any other non-negotiable, something that they would do that you would say, I'm never using that vendor again, besides the alcohol and then not showing up on time?
Sure. So we've had some DJs where they don't buy the rights to their music.
Oh,
it's not a DJ that we recommended or that we had worked with before, but he didn't buy the rights to his music. So every third song you heard commercials about making a donation to the rainforest, or cream for the bunions on your toes.
There's commercials.
So I don't know if he was playing off Spotify or YouTube,
that.
And he didn't try to, fade it in or fade it out.
Wow.
He just kept beat bopping in the corner, having a good time. And so that was a real quick way to ruin the wedding. And the bride's mom came up to me after the wedding and said, John, has this gentleman been here before? And I said, he has not. I don't know who he is. Is he a family friend? And she said, we paid him X amount of money. Do you think we should get our money back? And I said, if you are unhappy with the service he provided, you should have that conversation with him. Again, they hired him. I'm not sure where they found him. I call vendors like that Craigslist vendors.
Yeah.
You don't want to go on social media and say, I'm getting married. I need a DJ or caterer, because you will get hundreds of responses and it will take time to go through those. So again, I'd suggest working with that venue and saying, these are the vendors I need. Who do you suggest? This is my price range. And again, we don't discuss prices of other vendors, but we always say they've been here before. The officiant has shown up. He's got the folks married. It's been wonderful. Give him a call or give them a call. And so again, it's a good, helpful point, but making sure you hire professional folks. You don't really want to take a chance on the most important day of your life hiring a Craigslist type vendor.
I am so glad you said that, John, because seriously, I've talked about on this podcast, and then when the podcast was Grow My Officiant Business, talking directly to officiants, there are so many people that go on Facebook. It's unbelievable. And a bride or groom say, I'm looking for this. And it's almost like I'm asking for a discount, the cheapest people. And then they go crazy and hundreds of people come in. And sometimes I'll look through that list and I'm like, there are people on here that are actually decent vendors. But doing that, I don't think they realize how bad it looks.
Correct.
And you just called them a Craigslist vendor. So hopefully people listen to this, do not go and just list yourself in this crazy list of cheap discount services.
And everything, in today's world, everything's expensive. But again, on your wedding day, for most brides, that's the most important day of your life so far. And so again, because there are so many vendors out there, you can work with them, but make sure if you're hiring a DJ for $300 for 8 hours, some folks, again, these couples may think that's a really good price because they're not in this. They don't do it.
Yep.
And that's where, again, I would ask these couples to go back and talk to their venue and say, hey, I'm talking to DJ Blacklight. Has he been here before? If the venue does not provide you with a suggested list, then as you start talking to vendors, reach back out to that venue that you booked and just ask them, have you worked with this catering company or florist?
That's good.
What can you tell me about them? And take their opinion. And again, ultimately, it's the couple's decision who they decide to go with, but you're helping. And sometimes, I think venues forget you do this all the time. $300 for a DJ for 8 hours is not worth it at all.
Something's wrong with that.
You get that Craigslist DJ, but this couple doesn't know that because they don't do it all the time. So again, working with them and helping, providing information is huge.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So before I go into the last part of this episode, is there anything that you would recommend or tell a vendor who is really trying to be serious, give it their all, make their business something great, support their family with it, and they need to get customers? They need to get couples and brides. What's some advice you'd give them? And then what is some advice also you would give them to get into more venues right away?
Sure. I think one is being in it full time. You've got to be in it 24/7. You've got to put all your time, energy, and effort if you really want to make it a full-time gig. And there's some great vendors out there that do it part-time, and they're fantastic at it. But if, again, to your question, if you're wanting to get full-time and be booked every weekend or have multiple events a week, whatever your business is, you've got to be in it all the time, and you've got to be involved in the community.
That's a good one.
We're members of the Yadkin Valley Chamber of Commerce. We've won a couple of awards from them. We've served on other boards throughout the area. And again, that's helped get our word out there, and people see you in the community. They know you. They begin to trust you. They understand the service you're providing, and you're being helpful. If you're getting into the wedding industry and you think, I'm going to be a wedding DJ, that's great. But there's also birthday parties you can DJ. There's corporate events you can DJs. We've had celebrations of life or funerals here where they've had DJs before.
Wow.
So just don't think I'm going to be a wedding DJ. There's other type events that you can provide your service at. Catering, weddings are great, but again, birthday parties, corporate events, celebrations of life, school events are other things you can try to get into. So just don't reach out to venues only, school systems, nonprofits, all those things to get to get your name out there is huge.
Yeah, I have something I call strategic growth partnerships, and that is relationships that go beyond just a relationship between businesses. They're businesses that agree, I'm going to help you and you're going to help me. We're going to tell each other, we're going to tell people about each other. Correct. We're going to do whatever we can to help each other grow. How important, once you get into the nitty and gritty daily grind of business, how important are those types of relationships?
They're huge. We have great relationship with some local venues. So if we're booked and the couple really likes this area, we suggest call this individual. They're wonderful to work with. They have a beautiful facility. We've been there before.
That's awesome.
And it's great. And they do the same thing, which again, you help each other.
Yeah.
So when folks are coming here, they may say, oh, I couldn't get married there, but they may come back for their baby shower or book you for something else versus saying, sorry, I can't help you. Okay, thanks. That leaves a sour taste in their mouth, and you've shut that door from future bookings. So again, be happy, be excited, communicate with these folks, try to provide them some type of solution to their question, and just know you can't always help everyone. Everyone's idea, again, of a perfect wedding is going to be different, so your venue may not fit with their style, but they may be back for a later service.
Let me ask you this. This is a little bit of a tricky question. Do you prefer vendors who try to do that and network with you, or would you prefer vendors who just come out, do a great job? I mean, how do you see that in your head, that relationship between vendors and you?
Sure. So now that we've been open for 10 plus years and have been, pretty successful, we definitely have some great vendors we work with. In the beginning, as you're learning to work with these vendors, that's kind of a scary part of, you've got this vendor here, you don't know who they are, but you've said you've seen them before, you've been to an event working with couples. So we feel much better when couples for any event book vendors that are on our suggestion list because we know them, we trust them. I don't have to be there to hold their hand. I don't have to tell them, no, you cannot drive your vehicle into the barn to unload your supplies. Again, that's happened before.
Wow.
And
that's crazy.
And I trust these folks. And that's huge, again, for any event that you as the venue trust these people that are coming onto your property to provide a great service.
Yeah. So relationships really do matter a lot.
They are huge in this industry because, again, someone is putting their trust into you to book your business. And so they trust you. You want to help. You want to trust other vendors as well.
Yeah, that's great. So lastly, what is some advice that you would give a vendor that has been in this a long time, and I'm sure you might have seen this, and they're going through a season that seems to be a low season, and they're starting to get discouraged, and maybe they don't even realize they're not working as hard, or it's something. What advice would you give them?
I'd say one is kind of sit back and just take a deep breath. Just remove yourself and breathe and go back and look. Why were you so successful last year during this season, or what has happened? Is it an increase in venues? Is it an increase in the vendors that you're in, the type of business you're in? And just breathe and see, are you giving it your all? Did you roll off of maybe some community boards you sat on, or are you not as involved because you've taken on other things? And again, there's nothing wrong with reevaluating your business. We have some folks that we started working with in the beginning that have grown their business and now have employees. And that's kind of a scary thing when your name's on that. Do you trust other folks to do the great job and provide the excellent service that you've provided? But with any job, folks get burnt out, and I think it's good to take time with family or by yourself just to regroup. And there's nothing wrong when you do that. But if you do that, put an email or a social media alert out, hey, I'm out of town for this week. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'm spending time with my family. But that's, like we talked about in the beginning, communicating with folks as they're reaching out to you. So folks are going to kind of push your buttons anytime you work with the public. They'll push your buttons or ask questions, or things will happen that you didn't expect. And you've got to, as you're dealing with these individuals, nothing good's going to come if you're yelling at them or screaming or cursing. You've got to kind of sit back, and it's a challenge sometimes when folks are mad and they're yelling at you, but you have no control over the weather. I can't help that a storm showed up. You provide solutions. So again, when folks are upset, whether it's something you did or something you have no control over, listening to them and then trying to provide some type of solution versus saying, I don't know, sorry, can't help you. That's not what they're looking for.
Yeah.
And so again, communicating, but that takes a toll on you physically and mentally and emotionally. So take a step back, relax, regroup, and just think, are you tired of it? Do you want to sell the business, grow the business, slow down, go into a different field? But that's important for anybody that owns their own business to do. I think, yearly, just to sit back and talk and talk to my wife and I talk about it all the time. What have we done? What have we added? We always try to add something new to our venue. So folks that have been here 5 years ago, when they come back, they see different things and the venue's changed a little bit. So we always try to put money back into the business as well.
I'm glad you said all of that is so important, especially the burnout. That's a beast. And I think people think the harder I work, the better my business will go. And sometimes you don't even realize that you've worked yourself into this monotony and you just get burnt out and without knowing it,
Correct. If you own your own business, I would not suggest keeping a toll of how many hours you work and then dividing what you got paid. It's heartbreaking. It's sad. And I think most small business owners would agree with that. I've done it myself. I thought, man, I want to see how many hours I've worked. What have I averaged? And I think it came down to $4.39 an hour is what my wife and I got paid. And I haven't done it since. But again, if you do it, just know you'll be shocked at how much you work for a little pay. But owning your own business is fantastic. And again, you've got to go in full time, head first, and embrace it.
Yeah.
Welcome it.
For sure. You've talked about your wife a lot, and I like this because me and John were having a conversation right before this. He said, my wife told me I was never to do that again, and my wife says stuff like that to me all the time. She's like, don't do that again. We've worked in businesses before together, and it's something else working with your spouse, but it can be a good thing for sure.
100%. I mean, Jessica and I work very well together. We have never had any arguments over our business because at the end of the day, we both know the success of our business translates to us being able to take a vacation with our kids.
That's great.
Close down a day to go to our kids' soccer game or their play at school or their dance recital. So the harder we work allows us to spend more time with our kids. And Jessica does a great job. She handles all of our emails and social medias and contracts. And I have a little more flexibility, so I handle all the outdoor work and I'm here during the week. And then on the weekend, we spend quality time together. The great thing is for any event, folks always have meals and they're kind enough to offer Jessica and I dinner or a meal.
That's awesome.
So we always get to go out on a date when we're here working together, which is wonderful. And it's fantastic. You've got to find what you're great at. Social media, contracts, email is not my strength, and Jessica is fantastic at it. And again, I think that helps make our business successful. We each know what we're great at, and we complement each other very well.
You stay in your lane.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Sometimes you want to kind of get out a little bit or go a little faster, but again, at least for us here, Jessica and I work very well together, and we both know at the end of the day, the success of our business translates into more family time.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about.
That's exactly what it's all about.
John, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. Would you leave us and tell a little bit more about what your social media is here and how people can get in contact with you if you're near Surry County? Actually, you have people come from all over, I'm sure, all over North Carolina, right?
We've had the furthest wedding away we've had was from California.
Wow.
We've had folks from Puerto Rico.
That's crazy.
Just again, some people view Surry County as a destination wedding. And getting into this, we never thought we would have these folks coming from out of state to get married here.
Wow, that's wild.
The Yadkin Valley offers beautiful views of the mountains. There's water. There's you get all four seasons. There's a lot going on here. Again, in the Yadkin Valley, here in Surry County and in Dobson. But sure. So again, this is the Barn at Heritage Farm in Dobson, North Carolina. Real easy. The Barn at heritagefarm.com will take you to our website. Our website has all of our availability and prices as well. I think that's important to let folks know what you charge. It can save you just getting emails of what's my price? What is this? So again, we try to be upfront and honest and let folks know what our availability is. So that way, if they're date specific, they're not going to waste their time messaging us and things like that. But social media, same thing. The Barn at Heritage Farm We try our best to stay up on social media. Jessica posts something every day, whether it's an event we have that day or wedding pictures that photographers share with us to help couples, again, see how folks use color and what they did outside and decoration is, again, you're helping folks get the wheel turning. So staying up on social media, I think, is a huge thing that sometimes not all vendors think about.
Yeah, absolutely. So go to the show notes. If you're watching on YouTube, go to the description and we'll have everything that John just said so you can check out their website, their social media. Thank you so much for joining us on Grow My Wedding Business. Head over to the website, www.growmyweddingbusiness.com, and I will see you again next time.
Thanks, Chad.
Thank you.